Hello viewers! As usual, I'm the Armchair Critic, just taking a day to enjoy a few of life's little pleasures. Hand-knitted socks, some lovely spiced chai, and of course a thought-provoking foreign film. Today's selection is Massimo Pupillo's 1965 Il Boia Scarlatto, known here in North America as Bloody Pit of Horror. The film may be thought of as an early example of the slasher genre. Its outward story is about a group of attractive but basically uninteresting people who are killed off one by a murderous psychopath. The bright colors and cheerful music are typical of the early to mid-60s. However, on a deeper level, the film probes into a very dark corner of the human psyche, exploring through hyperbole the actions of a group of people willing to do some less than admirable things to achieve a goal which is, in the end, entirely superficial. The victims of this movie are a group of models and photographers looking for a place to take photographs for book covers. They find one in a spooky old Italian castle. This introduces the theme of superficiality right away. The group knows nothing of the castle's history or even who owns it. All they care about is its outward appearance. Furthermore, the specific use of book covers is an obvious symbol of something superficial. How many times, after all, have we been warned not to judge a book by its cover? The characters themselves are as superficial as their goal.
One castle's too modern, one's too old. Why don't we build our own and get it over with?
Susie, but wouldn't it cost an awful lot of money to build one, huh?
When they find that the castle is locked and nobody answers their knocking, they break in by climbing over a wall. At this point, this seems like a pretty minor offense, but later events will throw a far more sinister light on it. Their uninvited entry incurs the wrath of the castle's owner, a recluse who at first orders them to leave, but then relents and permits them to stay the night. The group settles in to do the job they came to do, getting some suitably sleazy images to adorn the covers of cheap horror novels. What these people would know, if they felt like inquiring further, is that this castle once belonged to an infamous inquisitor, the Crimson Executioner, who was tortured to death in his own Iron Maiden. The castle's current owner believes himself to be the reincarnation of this sinister figure, and he is ready to turn his predecessor's instruments of torture against the sins of the 20th century. In this case, what the victims don't know is still very much capable of hurting them. Several times, the events of the photo shoot trick us into believing that the horror has already begun. This reminds us that what these people are after, the thing they have already committed a crime for, is a goal of no real substance. When the murders actually begin, the group's shallowness is thrown into sharp relief. The boss wants to keep working while they're still allowed in the castle, and the models agree to continue in exchange for a raise in pay. This has the effect of swinging our sympathies decidedly towards the murderer.
They desecrated your world of beauty with their sordidness. The day of the Crimson Executioner has now come.
Finally, a slasher film in which the villain really is killing off the characters because they're annoying. But what is the murderer's dark secret? What purity is he protecting?
Mankind is made up of inferior creatures, spiritually and physically deformed, who would have corrupted the harmony of my perfect body.
The killer is at the end of the dark road the protagonists have already started down. They are willing to break and enter in order to pursue their superficial goal, but he, in attempting to attain physical perfection, is willing to kill. His body may be beautiful, but inside he is rotten to the core. This indeed is one of those books you cannot judge by its cover. Naturally, the only suitable death for a villain obsessed with purity is death by contamination, in this case, poison.
My perfect body. In the poisonous clutches of the lover of death.
This is a particularly dark film, even by slasher standards. The protagonists are nothing but paler versions of the antagonists. Having already demonstrated that they are willing to do misdeeds in pursuit of a mere shadow of a goal, they have the potential to become as mad and as ruthless as he is. But the film reminds us that this dark side is in all of us. We seek illusions of happiness in the form of wealth, beauty, and physical possessions, and I think most people, upon a little soul-searching, would have to admit that they've taken some less than admirable shortcuts along the way. Bloody Pit of Horror is well worth watching, and can be found on Amazon.com for the low price of $7.98 US. However, for those of you willing to take a dishonest shortcut in order to get a mere semblance of the movie, it's also available for download via YouTube. Which will you choose? I got it off YouTube.